This week on Max Life's My Classic Car. We'll jet out to Placentia, California for a beauty pageant of sorts, the 29th annual Pageant of the Thunderbird. Sam and Dennis point you in the right direction for re-chroming your bright work. And we'll have a date with a very classy Bonnie, a beautiful 1960 Pontiac Bonneville.
Ready remote truck. Stand by. 20 seconds to air. Cue the dog. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, cue Dennis.
Hi, this is Dennis Gage. Thanks for tuning in to My Classic Car, home of the certified car nut. We're here in Tri-City Park in Placentia, California for the 29th annual Pageant of the Thunderbird, a celebration of one of the most memorable cars in automotive history. Whether you favor early birds, square birds, bullet birds, or big birds, they've all flocked here. To fill us in on the scoop is Bob Claiborne, the pageant chair, is that right?
That's right.
Oh, that sounds so official, Bob.
Well, thanks, Dennis. Welcome to the Pageant of the Thunderbirds.
Oh, it's great to be here. 29 years, eh?
Absolutely, yes. We've kept it going all these years. Basically, the love of the Thunderbird keeps everybody together.
Now, you really do have a couple clubs here. It's both big birds and little birds coming together here, right?
Absolutely. Two clubs host this event every year, the Early Birds and the Fun Birds of Southern California. We put aside our differences about if the square bird or the little bird is the best, and we host this show for everything from the first bird ever built right on down to the present model years.
Fabulous. Now, these are mostly Southern California cars, or where do people come from for this show?
Well, it is held right here in sunny Southern California, and we have cars all the way from north at Simi Valley and as far south as San Diego, and perhaps there may be some participants from Arizona and Nevada here as well.
Now, is it a judged show?
Absolutely, but this is not concourse judging. We judge on fit and finish and the love that the owners put into their cars.
Yeah, well, and I've seen everything, including some works in progress.
Absolutely. We have both concourse winners right on down to rolling frames, daily drivers, and works in progress.
I love the colors here too. I mean, it's so vibrant, and some of the wild Thunderbird colors. Little birds are beautiful, but there's some big birds that I could die for. Let's go check a couple out.
Check it out.
All right.
Coming up, Sam and Dennis explain the process of re-chroming your classic's bright work. Plus, there's more of the Pageant of the Thunderbird. Max Life's My Classic Car is brought to you by Grundy Worldwide Collector Car Insurance and by Valvoline's Max Life, better care for higher mileage vehicles.
You know, one thing these big cruisers like this 55 Caddy have got a lot of is bright work, and nothing sets a car off like quality bright work.
I couldn't agree more. Take a look at this car. This car is absolutely beautiful. Perfect restoration, got a wonderful finish, got sculptured lines. Now take this hood. This beautiful paint job rolls down to this chrome leading edge on the hood. If this chrome was rusted or pitted, polished, that wouldn't look good at all.
It just wouldn't be right.
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to fixing up your bright work, sometimes you got some options. Let's say you got a high production run car like a Tri-5 Chevy or an early Mustang or something. You could go reproduction on your bumpers and things like that. Now, that tends to be a lot cheaper than a quality re-chrome job, but it also isn't quite as good, doesn't hold up as well. Now, a car like this, though, you don't even have that option. They're not repopping this bumper. They're not making this baby anymore. As a matter of fact, Sam, I don't know if you knew this, but most of these were lost to Madonna's tour outfits in the 80s.
No kidding.
It's true, it is. But if you want to re-chrome this car, if you want this car to look right, you're working with this bumper.
And that's exactly what happened here. Now, if you take a look at this bumper, this is a big, big bumper with these big cones on it. This is steel. It's chrome-plated steel. And this one's had a flawless re-chrome job by Paul's Chrome Plating. But there are other metals we're dealing with here. Look at the grille. As shiny as it is, looks like chrome. This is actually stainless steel. It's been polished. Now, there's a trick to polishing stainless steel, so not only get the luster up, but you don't have the swirl marks and the pit marks. Paul's also specializes in that. He also specializes in other kinds of metals. Show them what we got here, Dan.
Well, there's other kinds of metals and other kinds of finishes, too. These emblems here are actually die-cast zinc. A lot of people call them pot metal, white metal, really die-cast zinc. In the case of the Cadillac V, that's been done in 24 karat gold. The hood ornament, another pot metal piece, it's been chrome-plated.
That's right. And again, this is very labor-intensive. If you've seen these pot metal pieces, they get all pock marked, they get little blisters on them. There's a lot of work and labor intensive to get it smooth enough to plate. Paul specializes in that. But if you have a car like this, you got a one-of-a-kind grill or a bumper and it's damaged, well, now you got another problem, and we've got the answer for that. All right, now, this is what I was talking about. Here's a grill out of a 34 Ford. Now, you can find these all day long in the aftermarket and reproductions, but let's just say, let your imagination sort it. This is a one-of-a-kind grill. You can see how rusted this one was, all broken up. Now, normally you just toss this, get your repro, and you'd be all set. But if it's a one-of-a-kind, Paul's can fix it up. And you can see what they do here. They have fixed this, they've straightened it, added pieces, polished it, and plated it. It looks like brand new. That's a wonderful way to go when you got that rare Duesenberg or Bugatti, one-of-a-kind grill.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Here's an example of some of these pot metal pieces we were talking about. This is a taillight bezel. This is typical of what you'll see: discoloration, blistering, chrome off. Over here on this side, it's been completely restored. Continuous piece, and you can see how beautiful this side is. Now, Sam, I'm a hood ornament kind of guy.
I know that.
This is a great example too. Hood ornament here. This is actually two pieces. The outer piece has been left as it came off the car, really pitted. Just you wouldn't believe it could be repaired. The center has been re-chromed, looks like brand new. High quality work.
That's right. And this is very labor intensive, and that's why the people at Paul's Chrome Plating specialize in this. And of course, it looks so good because they really pay attention to detail, and 90% of the labor is in the last 10% of that detail work.
Absolutely. I've sent a lot of stuff off to the folks at Paul's for re-chroming, but one of the things that always amazes me, Sam, is when it comes back, it fits.
That's real important. You got to maintain dimensional stability because, on one big chunk, really probably doesn't matter too much, but when you got pieces that work together, like door handles and hinges with shouldered bolts going through them, it's got to be exactly right. And it's easy for a chrome plater to lose that dimension.
And Sam, why is that?
Well, if you take a look at this, this is a piece that was plated, and of course you can see this is the rough part where it was blistered. Now they polish it down, get it ready for the plating. Then you have 3 steps. You have copper. Copper is applied in a layer, and of course what that does, that helps the chrome to adhere or stick to the metal. Then they layer the nickel on. All right, once the nickel's set, then they go ahead and put the chrome over it. That seals the nickel, keeps it from tarnishing, and of course it brings up the luster. Well, as you add layers to anything, it gets thicker.
But they seem to have it down to control that thickness and not get it too thick.
They do a great job.
They sure do. And not only is it beautiful when it comes back, but Paul's Chrome Plating brings you back pieces that are lifetime guaranteed. So if you want to learn how to restore your bright work to the highest possible quality, log on to myclassiccar.com.
And as always, if you're going to buy or sell anything automotive, log on to hemmings.com.
Well, Sam, we put some smudges on this baby. I say we shine it up, but this time, don't spend all your time on the cones.
Hemmings Garage has been brought to you by the Eastwood Company, your source for tools and supplies. Don't go anywhere. We have more birds at the Pageant of the Thunderbird in Placentia, California.
The Pageant of the Thunderbird is a celebration of perhaps one of the most memorable cars in automotive history. This event, held in a beautiful park setting, had classy birds from 1955 to 2002, and even a few customs on hand. These T-Bird owners couldn't settle for ordinary license plates either. Oh no. With so many beautiful birds in attendance, I hardly knew where to start. Leo, this has got to be one of the most beautiful 60s I've ever seen.
Well, thank you so much, Dennis. I certainly appreciate the compliment.
Did you build it?
Yes, it was a labor of love. I enjoyed every minute of it. I got to give a lot of credit to my wife. I got to give a lot of credit to the people that generate parts for these cars. You've got Larry's Thunderbird, Nick's T-Bird.
It's beautiful, and it's got everything. I mean, you got the dress-up kit in the engine. That's the 352, right?
Yes, that's correct.
The interior, though, is just gorgeous, and I've never seen this combo of the red and the tan.
It was available just as you see it. The only thing is it's probably the least produced of the leather interiors.
And your tan top it really sets the car off.
That was really not available from Ford.
But it looks so good.
That's right. That's right. That's why I did it that way.
Your trunk is, I could live there. It shows your attention to detail. But these, this is not a simple mechanism.
No, it is not. It is not. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And I have a real good friend of mine named Mike Ogletree that really, I'll tell you, he gave me a lot of guidance as well. Really.
Well, you really do have everything. Coming around that, you've even got the Continental kit.
Yes, that's correct.
And the only thing missing here is
the rear deck antenna.
It would have been the center, right?
Yes, it would have been. Right.
Man, Leo, this is just gorgeous.
Thank you, Dennis.
You do fabulous work, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Talk about your awesome cars. This bird was drop dead gorgeous, and it's a bit of a Cinderella story too. While it was being restored, the restoration shop left the car outside overnight and vandals torched it. The shop paid for the restoration that was underway, but the owner threw in extra funds to take the car back to original colors, a very rare Samoan coral with white interior. I love happy endings. Larry, this is a beautiful 56. Of all the little birds, this is my personal favorite.
Well, it's mine too, and that's why I have it. I couldn't have picked one better for my particular taste. This has a 312 Dennis with a 4-barrel, about 225 horsepower. I made some minor changes. I put in the central or the air conditioning unit in there for a little creature comfort.
Well, even with the tweaks you've done under the hood, you don't notice it, and it does. I mean, it looks like 56. And the same goes for your interior. You know, these two-toned interiors are to die for anyway, but again, looking inside, with the exception of you got an updated sound system, you got the AC, but we're looking at 1956.
This was when you could tell a 1956 from a 1997 car. The porthole was put on at the insistence of the Ford executives. It seems like when they were driving the 55s, Dennis, that they couldn't see very well, and that's true.
Well, it really does help. Now in 56, the Continental kit was standard.
Well, it was standard, and again, the reason for that was the Ford executives found out that they couldn't carry 2 sets of golf clubs in the trunk.
You know, it's very important, of course, so
Let's
get that tire out of there.
They insisted that they put the tire outside. You know what stands out for me most, Dennis, I think when you're talking about this car is what it does to the public. I like to get this car out and let people see it. But even children, even 5, 6, 7-year-old kids, instinctively know that there's something different about this car, and they turn and look whenever you go by.
Oh man, well, I know I do. It is absolutely beautiful, and there's some great birds here, Larry. Thanks a lot, man.
Our pleasure, Dennis. Thank you.
The search for parts is just a part of the hobby, and we can help with this week's Classic Car Marketplace.
From the elegance of Thunderbird to the muscle of Mustang, Larry's Thunderbird and Mustang has the concourse quality parts and accessories that you need for your classic. Call Larry's today for a free catalog. 1-800-854-0393 or call 800-INFORMATION. Looking for parts for your classic Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, El Camino, Malibu, or Firebird? Call National Parts Depot, the nation's fastest restoration parts supplier, for your free catalog today. Most parts orders delivered complete in just 1 to 3 business days. Call 888-893-FAST now. NPD, the wise choice. Now you can choose from Mid-America Design's 3 specialty Corvette catalogs, including Vintage, C4, and C5. And as always, the real source for VW Beetle Essentials or Tweaks parts and accessories for Porsche. Visit madirect.com now or call 800-500-1500 for your free catalog. Still ahead, we step back in time with Jim Schmidt and his beautiful 1960 Pontiac Bonneville.
Jim Schmidt has a wonderful collection of automobiles, with several being unrestored originals. Recently, we were in Ocala, Florida, and dropped by Jim's place to check out a very classy 1960 Pontiac Bonneville Sport Coupe. Back down in Ocala, Florida with Jim Schmidt. Good to see you again, Jim.
Good morning, Dennis.
Standing amid his toy box here. I just love being back here. But we're today with a pretty special car to you. It's a 60 Bonneville, right?
Yes, this was almost identical to the car we grew up with as teenagers. It was Mom's car in the early 60s, and a lot of memories.
Man, to have Mom's car back. That's Well, these were such unique cars. I mean, such different styling for the era and even for Pontiac. I mean, it's very clean.
Yes, it's very together, clean and elegant at a time when there was real excess in many of the other brands.
There really were.
We found this through Hemmings. Yeah, from a original owner, a lady outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Maxine Story had bought it new and had ceased driving it regularly 18 years before I bought it. But once a month would take it out for exercise, 11 miles, and then put it back in their basement and cover
it back up. Oh, yeah. My goodness. Well, what kind of shape was it in? I mean, it's, you know, one owner car and everything. Was it Good shape,
Well,
rough
the
shape?
exterior was very much like a typical used car. The interior was absolutely perfect.
That's unbelievable.
Carpet, headliner, dash is all
It's immaculate.
absolutely original. She kept it incredible, like she never opened the door to drive it.
Except for that once a month.
Right.
Well, you know, what all options did you have in this? And was it close to the one your mom had?
It's very close. This particular car has unique power windows on the front doors only with cranks on the quarters.
Well, let's look under the hood. Now, this would have been a 389 engine.
Yes, 389 was Pontiac's only displacement choice because they were only making large cars in 1960.
So you could only get a 389, but there were
right.
different 389 variations, right?
Right, there were 6 variations of the 389, from a high economy 2-barrel to a very high performance tri-power setup with a 10 3/4 to 1 compression. This is the standard Bonneville engine, which is 303 horse and 10 1/4 compression with a 4-barrel. A very good workhorse engine.
Well, you know, it's a big engine, but there's still a lot of room in there.
Yes, man can work on it.
Absolutely, you can almost stand
Get
in
it
there.
everything, yes. Crawl in, go to work.
And beautifully restored. Now, you know, when you got the car, was the engine intact or?
The engine compartment was untouched. Maxine said her husband never would open the hood on it, and it looked like it, but every last detail was exactly the way it left the factory, and it just needed to be well restored.
Well, actually, that's a good thing. I mean,
A very good thing.
you didn't have to put anything back after somebody had done something wrong.
Right, every last piece in the engine compartment was factory original.
Wow. And what a unique front end.
It flows with the balance of the entire design of the car perfectly.
Oh, it is beautiful. And that was 1 year only. That was the last time they did that. First and last, basically.
Right.
Wow. Well, you know, you cruised a lot in Mom's car, and I know you don't drive a lot of your cars very much, but what do you say we...
Oh, we're going cruising.
Beautiful. Let's button it up.
More of this beautiful 1960 Pontiac Bonneville Sports Coupe. Brought to you by Grundy Worldwide Collector Car Insurance.
Welcome back to My Classic Car as we go cruising in a 1960 Pontiac Bonneville Sport Coupe.
Well, now, 60 was a pretty big year for Pontiac.
Well, they made, I think, on the tall side of 350,000 cars.
And I was astounded when you told me how few of these seem to be left of the 60s.
Well, there was a significant group in the Pontiac Owners Club that made a real hard attempt to document how many 60 Pontiacs of any body style remained. In a 5-year period, just barely exceeded 300. So there's something more than 300 remaining, but probably not many. Pontiac had huge success on racing in 1960. They won the majority of the NASCAR races. They did as close to a clean sweep of domination that year as I think any vehicle ever has in history.
And so what do you think the reason for so few of them still being around? Did they just meet their fate with the Crusher?
Yes, I'm very sure that the gas supply crunch of the 70s, the cars were already used cars, 10 and 15 years old, and they just heavily, I'm afraid, were discarded. Some of the very latest 60 models were available with a factory 4-speed. Very few were made. Truly a rare option. And in 60, the right people could obtain Super Duty parts.
Being the true gentleman that he is, Jim offered to let me drive this baby. And what a ride it was. So smooth, but with plenty of Pontiac punch. I love my job.
Jim, what a beautiful car. Thanks for letting me drive it.
Oh, it's been fun.
Well, and thanks, Mom.
She's looking down and smiling.
Oh, and so am I. Mind if I drive it back to the barn?
Oh, do.
All right, here we go. Continental kits, sequential turn signals. I'm a huge fan of this American classic, but unfortunately we're out of time. Our thanks to all the bird owners that showed up to let us do a little bird watching. If you're interested in next year's event, just contact the Pageant of the Thunderbird staff for registration and hotel information. Now, let's see if I can borrow a bird and do some flying myself.
Next week, we're in Auburn, Indiana for the Auburn Court Duesenberg Festival. Sam and I straighten out the curves on brake and suspension options, and we'll get to see a history-making racer, the Pearson Brothers 2D Coupe.
So until our next meeting, remember, honor the timeless classics. I'm Dennis Gage. Happy motoring.
Ford fans, don't miss this high-octane DVD of legendary Fords, including the GT40, Cobra, Daytona Coupe, Mustang, Thunderbird, plus a revealing interview with Carroll Shelby. Order your Legendary Fords DVD or episodes of My Classic Car today for only $19.95 by visiting myclassiccar.com. Promotional consideration has been provided by Larry's Thunderbird and Mustang, NPD, National Parts Depot, Mid-America Direct, and by Paul's Chrome Plating.